Connor, and welcome to Friends Stream Sports. We're so very excited to have you tonight. Thank you so much for being here. It was a good week off for me and Rutledge as both of us are getting to adapt to a new normal in our lives. So we're having a lot of fun here. But we did, and as always, we do want to continue to enjoy our time here at Friends Stream Sports. So, yes, here tonight we are not doing NBA 2K, but what we are going to be talking about here tonight is we're going to be doing a little FIFA time, FIFA 21. So, super excited about that. And yeah, we're going to start off here with little Orlando City versus Inter Miami as we start here tonight. Rutledge is probably going to be joining us here at some point this evening, so we're very excited to have him on the show. But until then, as they say, the show must go on, folks. The show must go on. Let's do a little team management settings here. Let's see how we're feeling. Good old Pato. I would like to see how Pato would actually fit into this lineup here with Orlando City, but I guess beggars can't be choosers here now, can they? Moutinho, who's been hurt most of the season, he needs to be playing. And let's see, we're gonna put a little Van der Vaart here. I'm a big Van der Vaart guy. I think this is kind of pretty close to what could be the best lineup for Orlando City. So. Minus Daryl DK, obviously. Wish he was here, but I'm sure he's on. He must be on the Barnsley roster. So, never mind. Mr. DK is right here, ready to roll with us. So, very excited to get to talk about Orlando City here tonight as we start our match. Let's make sure. Let's see what our game settings are. Let's do a little world class. I might lose, but that's okay. So, very excited to have everyone here this evening as we're kicking off and having a little Friends Stream Sports time live from my television area. Ronan, our producer, is here, and he just wants the treats. That's all that Ronan wants is the treats. So, very, very excited to have everybody here this evening. So, and as we start our Friends Stream Sports episode tonight, we're going to actually start off with a little bit of soccer talk. Very excited to have a little bit of soccer talk here. There's been a lot of games that have happened, a lot of really intense games that I think are definitely worth our time to talk about. First up, as we hit the Euro 2020, we're getting towards the business end of the tournament. You know, the interesting thing about the Euro groups is that they had there was a lot of third place teams that were able to get into the knockout rounds, and there was, you kind of had to, it wasn't the hardest tournament in the world to get into the knockout rounds, but the top end of the European, UEFA is obviously some of the best soccer that's played out there in the world. It's so good, we might even want to call it football, and that was no different today, as the real stunner of a match between England and Germany, which happened today down at Wembley, or up at Wembley, actually, if you're coming here from Florida or Georgia, where Rutledge is from. So very excited to hear everything that went on in the England versus Germany game. You know, there was obviously the Germans had their chances, as they always do, but they could not convert. And England now all of a sudden finds themselves in a very, very winnable match to the finals of the European Championships. And as they always like to say, it's coming home. It's coming home. So we wish the best for our relatives and friends across the pond, and definitely excited to see them do well. And, on the other side of that bracket is the team that all along I've kind of said don't sleep on them. And that's the Italians. So even though, the Italians do have a tough game against Belgium coming up, what's interesting there is you do have some hurt players, right? And really, although I think England versus Italy, that would be a really interesting matchup for sure. I do think Italy can match up well against Belgium. They're in the quarterfinals to get that match and that date into the semifinals for a chance at European glory. So definitely going to continue to watch that as Chris Mueller decides, really I decide to sprint a little too hard with the ball with Chris Mueller. So that's kind of my quick Euro breakdown. I think there was a lot of wild games. Spain and Croatia, a goal fest. The France game was absolutely nutty. Snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, as friend of the show Charlie Bell would say from time to time, as France did. I feel bad for Kylian Mbappe. He had a chance to cement part of his legacy, and he cemented part of his legacy now in the wrong way. And that's kind of what happens sometimes when you're a soccer player, is that you can get a lot of things going the right way, and then that one wrong move, that one wrong step, can really, really make that an issue for you. So, do feel bad for Kylian Mbappe, but I'm sure he's got a lot more European championships left in him, assuming and hopefully he doesn't get injured. I would hate to see him get injured. So, now I want to briefly touch on Copa America. The Copa America, kind of like the European Championships, the group stage, it's not exactly the toughest group stage out there to get into the knockout rounds, as the way that the Copa America sets up is 2 groups of 5 with the top 4 teams advancing. So really it's just the worst team in those groups were teams that weren't going to be advancing. Kind of on that left side of the bracket, you do have Brazil, which is a team that is definitely primed to make another deep run. Probably their biggest competition is going to be a Peru, which they've already dispatched of, or a Paraguay. I think that their side of the bracket definitely sets up a little bit easier. That's because Argentina and Uruguay sit on the other side of that bracket. So, it'll be interesting to see how Copa America shapes up. We're getting towards getting ready to have the Gold Cup here, coming up, where CONCACAF can kind of play center stage a little bit, and we'll see if the United States can take their Nations League Cup glory and be able to. Our defense here with Orlando City is kind of getting rocked, but Pedro Gallese, El Pulpo is doing a really nice job between the pipes tonight. So, yeah, I think that it's always going to be, it'll be really fun as the Gold Cup starts. Not the strongest United States team. I think we probably saw that in the Nations League finals, but that's okay. Still a lot of quality there on that United States side. And Ruan is beaming down that sideline, and we just about had the first goal here for Orlando City and the game here this evening. But alas, that's okay. Pato with the ball here. In Orlando City, speaking of Orlando City, they've played really well. My last real soccer talk type of conversation, we talked about Orlando City, and as they're just kind of finishing the group of matches that I wanted to touch on. And, Orlando City's played really well. And I think the biggest thing about Orlando City that I want to call out is they're continuing to win games without their key players. At the beginning of the season, Daryl Dike was playing over at Barnsley. Now, now they've got Pedro Gallese in the Copa America. They've got not too much on the injury side, but when you don't have your starting goalkeeper and a guy who really had a lot of big time impact for your side, I mean that's a big impact. So definitely hats off to Orlando City. Really excited, because they're winning these games without the full complement of players. Obviously, very excited to see how they finish out this summer. So then when the full team does come in, they can get to those full complement of players. So